So in many ways, the popular theater, as you understood it originally, was like to have the community evolve a drama that represents their situation, and by placing or have actors generate a drama out of a situation of a community, present it to that community so the community sees it outside of itself and question what is happening.
Usually the drama comes out of some locked situation that is the popular culture. In other words, it's something that might not necessarily even be positive in terms of the popular culture, because the popular culture is something that just have man beating woman or whatever, right? And what you try to do is to unlock that. You're saying because there is a point of recognition, an immediate point of recognition, and what you're looking at when you structure the drama is the turning point. What is the juncture? Because every scene in every play has a turning point. Every scene in every play is about shifting status. Yeah, how is it going to resolve itself? Yeah, so that if something comes from the popular culture, then it would have that dynamic within it, and the dramatist is looking, where is he going to put his magnifying glass to create that juncture. And to me, what it becomes a juncture of awakening. It becomes a realization, what some people who do these workshops call the aha moment, right? It seemed to me, in doing this, and doing this over many years, that there was something similar to the Jouvay moment on the street. That Jouvay moment, and the thing about the Jouvay moment is that the Jouvay moment is in plenty noise and mud and sexual innuendo and all kinds of confusion. Yet if you see it, there's that moment of transcendence. There's a moment when all of a sudden you see the big universe and yourself, or all these people, as small objects in the big universe, in space, objects. All of a sudden there's a moment when you have transcended just this life here. So it's that moment. And it seemed to me that in the scenes, when you find that junction, you're able to get, whether it's a mentally handicapped person or a single mom or whoever, to simply unlock it. So all of a sudden it's a Jouvay moment, a moment of awakening.
All right, we're going to hold it there because we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Tony Hall in Eye to Eye. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Eye to Eye with Tony Hall. Right, you're talking about popular theater, you're talking about aha moments and so on. I try to apply it to myself to some extent. A lot of it is, to my understanding, is to try to objectify people's experience so that they can look at, they can sometimes see themselves and sort of think, that's what happens. And to me, that is what our work in television was trying to do, to objectify our life so that we can stand outside and say, hey, that's what we do. Yeah. Which, without local television, you don't have the opportunity to do.
You see, that's the thing.
You have it coded.
That's exactly it.
But let me go back quickly just to lead on to so that you can explain your Jouvay process.
Yeah, we get to
and
Jouvay
your
process.
Jamet consciousness.
yes.
Briefly for us.
Get to
right. The Jouvay process. I forgot to say that your Jouvay process and so on has been used in workshops. You've used it in workshops all over the world, right? And it's become like a thing, like a method. So that what is this method that seems to also resonate with all
other
sorts
people,
of other cultures?
Well, the premise really is that we have a marvelous culture here, right? But I mean, having said that, I must say that you don't go. There's no people that you would meet anywhere in the world who don't have a marvelous culture, right? That's the first thing. But what I was excited by, and what I was always searching for, was how could I discover and understand the mysteries of the universe by simply looking here at my own culture, at how I have lived, or the situation that I've come out of.
Right.
And of course, obviously, people like C.L.R. James and Beryl McBurney and Minchell and Lloyd Best and so on have been important in that in directing my discovery.
That vision, right.
So what has happened is that I am, once in a sense, the all that could happen abroad was one could become somebody else and probably become famous, because once I was eventually in Canada, there were all kinds of things happening that pointed towards a kind of fame, if you want. And in fact, my colleagues, when I left, my colleagues accused me of being afraid of success, which is an interesting thing. Oh, afraid of success is good. But anyhow, one is thrown back on yourself right away. And I always wanted to be authentic from here in the world. Right. And when I say authentic from here, I don't necessarily mean Trinidadian or even Caribbean, right? But just to understand the ground that I come from and understand that when I walk anywhere, I walk with that.
Well,
that is
so
part
how
of
does the Jouvay process manifest itself?
I am immediately, in doing the popular theater and discovering this moment of realization and awakening, I am immediately reminded of Jouvay morning, the awakening of Jouvay morning. It just comes to me like that. And I'm immediately made aware of the two dimensions of existence. That is the sort of big, endless world, the sky that goes on forever. You know, when you look at the sky, there's no end, right? Right? And here we are, objects in space. Right. So all of a sudden, the person, the individual, becomes less significant. The individual becomes totally objectified, and in that situation, the performer becomes simply a mask for this bigger vibration. Right. And that reminds me of the unlocking that happens in the little scene. So right away I'm saying, but wait, we are involved in a Jouvay process. And when I say we, everybody. Right. But the word that we use, Jouvay process, is a Trinidad word. Right. And the Trinidad word is describing what every human being, right? And therefore to now deal with this on an international level with people from Russia or India or wherever, same way they come and they give me their method that Stanislavski developed, right, that unlocks things for them. I begin and I start talking, I begin to start talking about emancipation. And I begin and continue talking about what those people coming out of 1838, through the Cambule riots, through the Jose riots, right? That what I call a corridor of realization, right down to 1938 when we have black Jacobins and trade unions and the PAN. Right. And I said that's a corridor where a group of people became people in the world. Not just Trinidadian, because Trinidad have a problem with even the word Trinidad, because that's Columbus word, that's not our word.
And you live in Tobago now.
And I live in Tobago with, yeah. So I'm dealing with this, understand, this is not patriotism and all of that. This is finding yourself in the world, finding a way in the world. So once you work this out as some kind of system of awakening in this way, you can go anywhere in the world and tell this story. You don't have to stand up and tell it, because what you have in the emancipation tradition inside there, you have stick fight. Right? So I go to America and I'm working in a performing arts academy, and the students say to me they want to get into Juilliard. They want coaching to audition to get into Juilliard. And these girls come to me and they bring Tennessee Williams. And I say, okay. Put a stick in each one of them hands, start to play the rhythm and say, okay, dance them calendar them Tennessee Williams scene, right? And as I look at their bodies move, I realize they're not going to do big calendar, but they're moving slow. They're moving, you know, and all kinds of, as they do the lines and they move, all kinds of things being discovered. But what they have to do is a calendar scene. When I say a calendar scene, I mean a calendar conflict, a calendar play. They have to move calendar. They have to discover the parry and thrust, the shifting of status and so on in the scene and the display. And so I am saying, but this is what Jouvay process is. This is what, but because it is discovered by human beings in a situation, and we could go into the whole thing of what the philosophical and psychological situation that the Jammets came out of. But because of that situation, they discovered something about being human beings.